What's up guys, I'm BTC. With the announcement of Overwatch on the Switch, we get more information about crossplay, potential item sharing, new arcade mode, and more. Got a bunch of things to get to today. First is that the arcade is going to be getting an expansion with the addition of Quick Play Classic. A lot of people were wondering whether it was going to be a permanent edition or if it was going to cycle in and out. Well, now we have our answer. This screenshot that you're looking at right now was distributed by Jeff Kaplan himself, so it is 100% real. You can see that they're going to be adding some more slots for different game modes. There will now be 2 permanent game modes in the arcade, those being Quick Play Classic and Mystery Heroes. There will also be 2 game modes that will change out daily for a variety of things, as well as 3 more that appear to be changing weekly. This screenshot doesn't have that little banner thing that says that they're changing out weekly, though I think that's because this was taken from an internal build of the next event, which is Halloween Terror. So during those events, several of the arcade slots are reserved for event stuff specifically, which is why it doesn't have the little changes weekly banner thing. So this also gives us a little bit of a teaser as to what we can expect coming up pretty soon for the Halloween Tower. And once again, we have Junkenstein and also the Endless mode, so both of those will return for this year's Halloween Terror. I think most of us expected that there wasn't going to be any significant changes from previous years, and Blizzard seems to be indicating that it's pretty much just going to be recycled from here on out. We can also see that they're planning a new season of the 3v3 competitive elimination game mode that will likely arrive a little bit before or during the event itself. Now, another thing I wanted to add about the arcade, or specifically Quick Play Classic, is that Blizzard is looking into changing the achievement system so that it will now include Quick Play Classic in addition to standard Quick Play and competitive, meaning that you can get achievements for all the characters in all 3 of those game modes instead of just the normal Quick Play and competitive, so they're going to add that a little bit more options. When this is going to be implemented, no idea. It's just on their list of things that they would like to add to the game. Moving on, we got some more news about Overwatch on the Switch, plus the possibility of crossplay and some other stuff. We found out what some of the game specs on the Switch are going to be, and this was kind of a joke when they first announced it, that they were going to have a really low frame rate, and it was going to be like 10 FPS or 15 FPS. And as it turns out, it's kind of true, not quite, but the thing is, Nintendo consoles haven't really been known for being powerful systems. I mean, they said it themselves, right? And instead, they try to offer other sorts of things to make their systems unique and interesting, like the motion controls and all that sort of stuff. So as a result, Overwatch will be locked at 30 FPS on the Switch. And I realize that many games on Xbox and PlayStation are still 30 FPS, but as a PC player, that just seems so incredibly low. I mean, I run Overwatch at about 140 FPS, and my computer is capable of going well beyond 200, but because I also have to run recording software at the same time, I keep it down to 140 just to make sure that it's stable. But running something at like 60 FPS or 30 or even 30, like, it just, oh man, it just seems so clunky. Like, I don't know. Like, this is one of the reasons why I can't play FPS on console anymore. And in case you're wondering why FPS is important, it reduces things like screen tearing, jittering, and for games like Overwatch, having a high FPS is important because the more often the game is updated and refreshing, the more accurate you can see where other players are and what's going on in the game. This is kind of interesting though, because I believe, and I'm not 100% sure on this, but I believe that there are other games on the Switch that are very similar to Overwatch that still run at 60 FPS, and I'm not entirely certain why Blizzard would decide to go with 30 FPS, but it is what it is, I guess. Moving on, another big issue that has been brought up time and time again is the idea of crossplay between the consoles. Other games have managed to have crossplay, at least on a very limited basis, and largely this is because Sony just doesn't like to have that sort of thing. However, they are beginning to be a little bit more receptive to it. There was an issue not too long ago, I believe with Fortnite, that accidentally had Xbox and PlayStation players in the same matches, proving that the architecture was already in place to allow it to happen, and the only thing that was preventing it was Sony. Blizzard has issued some new statements on Overwatch and Crossplay after the announcement of Overwatch on the Switch, but they were largely wishy-washy, meaning that they generally said the same thing that they always say, that it's something that they would like to have happen, but they're not quite sure if it really will, and they didn't confirm whether or not they're currently working on it. Basically, they were excited to see the possibilities that could pop up, but they're still waiting on a variety of factors. And my guess, and this is just a guess, but my guess is one of those major factors is once again that it's probably Sony that's causing the problems. Now that they have Overwatch on the Switch, they could try to work into having Xbox and Switch players in the same matches, but I kind of think it would be more beneficial for them to just get Sony on board as well, so that way they can just do it all at once. However, I do think it's kind of unlikely that you'll have console crossing over with PC, and the reason for this, and I've talked about this before, is because of the different input types. The mouse and keyboard versus a controller, and the mouse always gets a massive advantage. I believe Fortnite, which allowed some of this crossplay, made it so that people using mouse and keyboard can only play with others using mouse and keyboard. They don't allow it to mix and match because of the inherent advantages of using the mouse. So regardless, if something like that does happen with crossplay, I wouldn't really expect it for quite a while in Overwatch. Again, probably waiting on Sony to do something. But getting back to Overwatch, if crossplay does become a thing, I wouldn't expect it for quite a while. And this leads into the next thing, which is that even if you can't have crossplay, isn't it about time that you could, at a bare minimum, share your own items across the different accounts that you have? Meaning that if you have Overwatch for PC and then you get it for the Switch, you shouldn't have to get all of those items and skins and cosmetic stuff all over again on the Switch. And I realize the immediate response here is that, well, Blizzard wants you to buy more loot boxes, but I just don't really think that that's going to be as big a market as you would think, and I don't think it's going to be as good as you might expect either. So if someone already has all of the stuff they want on one system, let's say PC, I can't really see them spending a lot of money on loot boxes to get it on a second system, especially in the case of Switch, where they just had to drop another, what is it, $30, $40 in order to get the game itself. So if they have to buy the game again, they're not going to be willing to buy more loot boxes. I just don't really see it happening. So we already know that Blizzard is able to transfer data from the Overwatch PC Battle.net account onto console accounts of the game. And this happens through special promotions and the things that are going on with Twitch. Specifically, I'm referring to getting Overwatch League tokens and any of the sprays and other special items that you get during the special events. Like, you have to watch these streams for 2 hours or 4 hours, whatever, right? And then you get a special item that's added to your account. Well, if you're unfamiliar with that whole process, what you need to do is you have to connect your console account, so Xbox or PlayStation, you have to connect it to your Battle.net account. Even if you don't even own Overwatch on PC, you have to connect that. Then you connect the Battle.net to Twitch, and there's already all the mechanisms in place that allow it to transfer and put that information from the Battle.net onto your console account, therefore giving you the item. So I don't know exactly how Blizzard stores the information on what character skins you have, but I imagine that at the very basic level, each character skin, emote, voice line, and other stuff is simply stored as a variable, and it either has an on or an off, a 0 or a 1, and either you have it or you don't. It seems to me that the best way to handle the item sharing would be if all the information was stored on your Battle.net account, and anytime you get a new item, whether it's on PC or Xbox or Switch or whatever, it simply updates the master file on Battle.net, and then that tells the other systems, hey, you have this item, so therefore it gets unlocked. And this means that, you know, any new items that you have, you don't need to go and re-get them on new systems, like if you pick up the Switch version of Overwatch. Now, even if crossplay is not available for a very long time, it seems like something like this would be far easier to do because, as I mentioned, some of that information transfer mechanisms seem to already be in place, and I think it's something that a lot of people would like having, and it might even encourage more sales of the game, because if you know that your stuff is going to transfer over, then you might be more inclined to get it. Because in my own comment section, I've seen more than a few people saying, well, I own Overwatch on Xbox and I'd like to get it on PC, but I don't want to lose all of my items. I'm not going to go through and have to re-get all that stuff. So if there was a transfer or if there was sharing, then you'd probably have a lot of people being willing to buy the game on multiple systems so that they can play with different friends. So anyways, there you have it. That is all of your Overwatch news for today. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.